Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Connection with continuation of the weekly comic book roundup, and now we'll be focusing on this week's Empyre tie-ins as well as Marvel's other cosmic offerings. Kicking things off with Lords of Empyre, Celestial Messiah. Okay, so this actually takes place technically before Empyre number 1. We begin on the blue area of the moon. Koi, the leader of the Celestial Messiah, the leader of the Kotati forces, is on the eve of battle going through a cleansing ritual. His father, the Kotati in the form of swordsman, explains to him that in days past, warriors from the human warriors, Kree warriors, and Skrull warriors conducted purification rites on the eve of battle. They would be bathed and groomed, purged of every doubt and complication. And while the Kotati differ from them in other respects, it is also their custom. And so today is his root quest. And, well, Koi kind of, he just wondered if, everyone doubts his loyalty. Though his father explains to him that the meat half of him is weak, and a liability that the Kotati can ill afford. He's told he will drink the sacrament and retreat ring by ring into his tenderest pith. He will be tested, and where frailty is found, it will be burned out. He's told to be open, be humble, and when he returns, be honest. And so, Koi drinks the sacrament. Meanwhile, Koi's mother Mantis is trying to forge a psychic connection with him. It comes before her, and the two end up fighting. And she shows him various points in her past, like when her and Swordsman went to join the Avengers. And apparently, Swordsman really didn't see it happening, mainly because of his villainous past, explaining that he once made Captain America walk the plank. And so she tells him to, they'll go and be Avengers. And so Swordsman asks her, what if they say no? And she says, well, don't you Cirque du Soleil or something. The fight continues between Koi and Mantis' how exactly to put it? Because it's not Mantis in person. It's a construct. It's a planet construct psychically controlled by her. And she actually kind of explains that the only reason she was still grieving the loss of Swordsman when when the Kotati Swordsman took his place. Mantis says that she never should have accepted his proposal. She knows it now, but he sounded the same and he smelled the same, and again, she barely had time to grieve. And on the planet Tamal, they were fashioning new bodies from the local flora, and Swordsman tried entering a psychic enclave, but was denied, saying he was foreign, unclean. Mantis looks further into this and says he's being quarantined. And then Koi ignites some of the phosphorus that's in the plant construct, and then Mantis reminds them of their grand suburban experiment, where she raised Koi normally. And one time, he was going to play with some friends, play Avengers, and he had a Captain America costume, but someone else had one. And there can't be two Caps. So Koi made his own swordsman costume. Became friends with Connor. And Koi has lulled Mantis into a false sense of security, and gets into her mind, going back to the top, bringing her back to when Star-Lord convinced her after the events of Annihilation Conquest to slightly nudge the would-be Guardians into becoming a team. Then explained how the grand suburban experiment ended. Koi's Kotati genes awakened. They became a giant tree in front of his friends. And she explains all she was trying to do was protect him. And let him be free from prophecy. However, he promptly uses his control over plants to turn the plant construct into flowers. And so, on the outer edge of the Lamora system, the link is broken. Mantis calls the Avengers and basically says that, half the galaxy's converging on Earth with good reason. They're trying to stop her son, and if she can't reach Earth in time, the Earth's heroes have to let the Kree and Skrull deal with him. And that's where the issue ends. As we saw in Empire #3, Mantis arrived on Earth in Wakanda and basically, suggested an attempt at diplomacy. Brings us to Empire #4. Where we left off in Empire #3, the Kotati forces are spreading across the Earth with the combined might of Earth's various heroes doing what they can to stop it. One of the major battlefields being Wakanda, for its vibranium-enriched soil. So the issue begins on the Kree Skrull flagship. Captain Marvel and Human Torch are both extremely against the use of the Pyre, a weapon that would destroy the sun, and as well as all the planets orbiting it. And Emperor Hulkling comes out and basically explains that the fate of the galaxy is at stake, and because of that, there are no survivors, only no civilians, only warriors. And he explains that if it comes to it, he's ready and willing to make what sacrifices must be made. The tide must be stopped at any cost. So he's going to order the deployment of the Empyre. And he hopes it won't be necessary to activate it, but if it does, he won't hesitate to detonate the system's sun. Captain Marvel uses her accuser's hammer to gene scan Hulkling, and it says it is him. And so Human Torch and Captain Marvel join forces against the Kree and the Skrulls. It does not go well, and in the end, Hulkling insists that Mergen, the Mystic, teleport them away. And they end up in the apartment of Hulkling and Wiccan. And Johnny kind of breaks it to him, saying, I'm just going to rip the Band-Aid off. Your boyfriend wants to blow up the sun. Sorry, can I use your phone real quick? Back at Avengers Mountain, Reed Richards and Tony Stark are still trying to, are still trying to work on the various problems. However, Tony has decided to start working on a new armor. And Reed kind of calls Tony out on this, and Tony says, asks, how I told Thor to spend his time? Go on a quest. Come at the problem his way. His tool is his process. And he explains that this is his process. He thinks in suits. In Wakanda, the battle is not going as well. The tide of the battle has turned in favor of the Gotati. However, T'Challa has entered the battlefield personally. Though he does note that the Gotati forces are communicating at the speed of thought, which puts the Wakandans a step behind. He thinks about what he could do as king, but wonders if it's something he should do. Namely, he could irradiate the entire area, make sure nothing grows in the soil of Wakanda again. And it's a seductive thought and a hard choice to make. Strength it would take. It would surely show how serious of a king he is. Well, Gotati would simply shrug and go on to seek another place of power elsewhere in the universe. However, he decides that in the end, victory will not come from hollow shows. A king must have priorities, and the true priority is peace. At Lake Victoria, where swordsmen and Koi are basically watching the battle from afar, She-Hulk, Thing, Invisible Woman, and Mantis arrive. After swordsmen has noted that the former three are not involved in the battle in Wakanda. Mantis tries to reason with her son again. And Invisible Woman also tries to, her end diplomacy. Only to be interrupted by, of all people, Hulk, who explains that the Kree-Skrull Alliance has deployed the Pyre. That's the Sun Killer. She then tells the Gotati that they should press their attack immediately. Lets off a gamma burst and promptly vomits up plants. It's explained that the Gotati took her over, and that Jen Walters is very, very dead. And that Ben can, and the Thing can see the truth for himself when the Kotati, what basically inhabiting Jen's body, sends Ben to meet her. Back with Wiccan, Human Torch, and Captain Marvel, he's used the spell to see what Captain Marvel saw, and while what happened on the flagship was horrible, it wasn't Hulkling. Explaining the way his mouth twitched, the way he held himself, the look in his eye. Not him. Explaining that he knows Teddy even possessed her mind control. He sees something of him, and that's not Teddy. He explains that he knows Teddy better than anyone else, on or off the Earth. And whoever it was that said they'd order the deployment of the Empyre is not the man that Wiccan married. And that is where the issue ends. Which then brings us to Fantastic Four number 22. Where we left off, Franklin and Valeria Richards had been sent back to Earth with Nicola and Joe Venn, who were now wards of the Fantastic Four. And they went back to Yancey Street, figuring keep them safe. But it also call some help. So some help was called in the form of help was called and arrived in the form of Wolverine and Spider-Man. However, upon arrival, Dark Harvest, the faction of the Kotati, were alerted and made their way towards New York, where the FF, or where this new FF were dealing with, well, Spider-Man, Wolverine accidentally stabbing Nicola. And so while Franklin and Logan argue, Spidey's spider sense is going off, while Alicia's trying to deal with Nicola, who's now injured. Wolverine basically prevents Joe Venn from killing Nicola himself, and we're told that Skye, another ally of the FF, is Johnny Storm's soulmate, which of course throws Spidey for a bit of a loop as the Dark Harvest show up. Starting a pitched battle with all of them. Skye ended up taking a handful of poison darts in her wings, which knock her out, and one of the Dark Harvest take Joe Venn prisoner. Inside, Nicola says that she doesn't want to fight anymore. It's all she's ever known, and she kind of doesn't want to do it. And so, but Valeria has a plan involving image inducers. Spider-Man and Wolverine are trying to prevent the Dark Harvest from leaving with Joe Venn. They manage to get into his head, though, and they show Captain Marvel constructing the Omni-Wave projector back during the Kree Skrull War. And so they make their way inside and are suddenly faced by the Hulk and Ghost Rider. Hulk promptly punches the Dark Harvest bruiser out of the building, and the Dark Harvest escape. With Joven. Wolverine attempts to chase after them, but is hit with a bunch of the poison seeds, and well, yeah. It's revealed, however, that it's not actually the Hulk and Ghost Rider that showed up, but just Valeria and Franklin using the image inducers. And in fact, the punch from the Hulk was one well-timed cosmic punch. And then there's Fantastic calls. And they tell them what's going on, and some of the priests of Palma are not to be taken lightly. Though Valeria mentions that there seems to be an issue with the device that she activated, or at least maybe she didn't activate it properly because it only summoned 2 substitute members. Though Reed explains that the device does need fine-tuning. And it also... And the Fabricator gives them everything they need. A blue and black suit for Wolverine and a blue and black suit for Spider-Man, as well as 4s for those 2 additional 4s. He then explains that there's something that Valeria should know. Logan and Spider-Man were summoned to complete the roster. No one else came because no one else was needed. The program recognized that 2 members of the FF were already on duty. Adding that the kids' adventure isn't over. It was round 1, all that matters is they get back up and try again. And so, Spider-Man and Wolverine suit up in their new duds, and Franklin and Valeria put the floors on their outfits. And their plan is to free Joven and kick the Dark Harvest butts. And that is where the issue ends. Which then brings us to Empyre X-Men number 2. Where we left off, it seemed that months ago the Scarlet Witch tried to resurrect the dead mutants of Genosha. And it went about as well as one would expect. Now, the Kotati are trying to use Genosha as a staging area for their invasion of Wakanda. This has piqued the interest of the X-Men. It's also piqued the interest of more recent X-foes, Horde culture. And so, Horde culture is getting samples from the Kotati and dealing with them in their own way. To make Angel more agreeable, they hit him with a pheromone spray. It also affects Jamie. But they get it. They basically learn they've got plants and zombies incoming. Yeah, plants versus zombies, right? So the X-Men that are present, as well as Horde culture, are dealing with the Kotati and the zombies as best they can, but well, they are a bit outnumbered. So Magic, being a Queen of Limbo, summons forth demons. Orders them to eat all the plants and zombies, but leave the old ladies to her. in the Kotati warship, one of the injured Kotati decides to use the ship's self-destruct. But he's been followed by Explody Boy, one of the mutant zombies, who starts gnawing on Kotati, and as the self-destruct mechanism is set, which basically turns into a giant seed pod, trapping Monet and two members of Horde culture within it. And Black Tom has been getting gets a heads up about the Genosha Gate again, and so he does what he can to he basically makes this little avatar on Angel's shoulder, gets a sit rep, passes the information on to Sage. And then also, gets further intel from Sage through Black Tom. Gets further intel from Magic, and then their attempt to get through the seed pod, however, really just kind of seemed to make the whole thing angrier. But at least they got some of the dupes out. Magic is beginning to go a bit closer to full demon. And she sends two of Horde culture, as well as Angel, into limbo. And basically explains that, they'll be let go when they release the Genoshan Gate. So they do. As Horde culture leaves, they realize they need to revise the pheromone gas formula to work on women and demons. And so, with the gate open, Magic, war captain of Krakoa, summons forth any and all available psychics to Genosha. And out of the gate come Quentin Quire, Lady Mastermind, looks like Selene, Mr. Sinister, Exodus, Shadow King, and 3 of the Stepford Cuckoos. And that is where the issue ends. Which then brings us to the non-Empyre tie-in Cosmic Book of the Week, Guardians of the Galaxy number 5. Where we left off, the two teams of Guardians were on the same planet, on opposing sides. Hercules, the alternate universe Phyla-Vell, the alternate universe versions of Phyla-Vell and Heather Douglas, Novar, Rocket, were destroying a Devourer, basically a power source that was made along the same lines as one of Galactus' old, basically the machine that Galactus uses to convert a planet's energy. Meanwhile, Gamora's team had been hired to stop them to protect the Devourer machine, and also kill Rocket Raccoon. And Moondragon, who was coordinating, the Moondragons, who were coordinating for each team, basically caught wind of each other and basically got involved into it. And the stage was set for a psychic battle between the two of them. To begin years ago, with Heather mourning the loss of Phyla, though to be fair, I thought that Heather was dead for a good long while too, so yeah. And then months ago, running into Bug on Olomayak and discovering that there was another moon dragon. And so, the two moon dragons engage in their psychic duel. Phyla realizes something's up because her mental link with Moondragon is down. What's his friggin' name? Blackjack O'Hare is waiting for the word to kill Rocket. Gamora has Hercules at gunpoint. And actually manages to talk him down. However, the Prince of Power wakes up and goes after Hercules, the Prince of Power. Who explains that Hercules' honeyed words of peace would have the Guardians think twice about their mission. Then, Hercules has met his match in the Prince of Power, because he does not even think once. And he throws Hercules around in the machine. The psychic duel between the two moon dragons continues. And Blackjack O'Hare is suddenly having some problem with the wind and the trees, and getting a clear shot on Rocket. Of course, it helps that tree is actually Groot, because it turns out Groot isn't okay with Blackjack shooting Groot's oldest friend. And in fact, Groot warned Rocket about this, and Rocket really says, "I'll drink to that." Then it turns out that Hercules had been arrested earlier the day, and wanted to talk to Nobark, the ghastly hippie they threw in the brig. But no one's in the brig. And so, the Prince of Power and Hercules continue their fight, and yeah, Prince of Power manages to damage the device, and then Novar slips in, slaps his wrist gauntlets onto Novark, and teleports him into the machine as it's about to blow up, and also at the same time teleports the Guardians out. Back with the two moon dragons, the two become one. The moon dragon of Earth 616 lost everything. However, the moon dragon of this ultimate superhero Earth has everything. So why not share? And so, the two moon dragons become bounded into one by a kiss, which is odd, but I don't know. I guess that's the ultimate form of narcissism. well, maybe not narcissism, but at least saying, well, yeah. Self-appreciation. And so now the two are combined and are combined in one body, and the psychic link is back. And that is where the issue ends. And to be fair, of all the titles not tying into Empyre, Guardians is the one that surprises me the most. So, anyway. Anywho, that's it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying, live long and rock hard.